And I looked and I found these two babies who are so cute. They look so much alike, and they were hugging each other. And I could touch them and they were still warm. I cried and I told them, sorry. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. I was 17. I'd finished my A-levels. I was waiting. I didn't do very well. I wanted to go and repeat. That time you could go to poly for Form 6. You can do Form 5. They had for 5 and 6. So in waiting there, things happened and I was sent to India. So with the marks that I had, I could get a degree. And I didn't know even what I wanted to do in India. So I rega-regaed somewhere along the way. And in rega-regaing, somebody liked me and I liked them. We're there just, I don't know what happens in India anyway. We had lots of money, lots of freedom, and lots of things to explore, especially our sexuality. So, and lots of booze. So in first year, by the time we hit, because we joined in, but in the first 2 months, 3 months, I discovered I was pregnant. In fact, I was sick, actually, very sick. And when I went to the doctors, actually I was having very heavy periods, and I didn't know why. And I remember my boyfriend would tell me, hey, wewe ukienda kutestiwa utapata more alcohol in your blood. In fact, they'll say more blood in your alcohol than alcohol in your blood. And I went to the guy, he checked me, and he told me, hey, by the way, do you know you're having a spontaneous abortion? And I'm telling him, what's that? And he tells me, sometimes the body rejects a fetus. And it could be called a miscarriage, but that's what he called it. And that's what's happening to you. So he dealt with it. So I went on with my life. Then I was allergic to rubbers as well. I don't know if it's the oils or whatever they use them to fragrances. So within about 6 months or something, I was pregnant again. But that one of you've got some information at the back of your head. I went back to the same doctor and I told him, this has happened to me. And then he asked me, what do you want to do? And I said, because the guy I told him and he panicked. And it was left to me to think, now, what do you want to do? And he says, my parents. So I sat down, went to the doctor. He told me, fine, I can do whatever, come tomorrow. And he sorted it out. It was barely what? It was barely 12 weeks. I can't remember exactly.
And this particular second abortion, is it the same guy?
The same guy. This time again, it was summer the next year. And I was really feeling off sorts. And this time, that one I'm out about what, now 17, 18, then 19 again. I went to the doctor tells me, you're pregnant, but I was feeling pain. And in doing that, she checks and she finds out that I have an ectopic pregnancy, a baby growing in the in fallopian tubes. So that one had to be dealt with because that's what an medical emergency. If I went on with that, it would burst and it would kill me. I don't call it an abortion, but as a child I lost. And then
it's now been 3 abortions?
Now those are 3, the same guy. Somewhere along the way again, I was pregnant. But this time I was so determined to have this child. And then he had moved out. So him being away, I'm pregnant, I said, this one is no influence of me, I'll have. I don't know what it is that this man appeared from somewhere. And that time I think I'd also known he was being unfaithful to me. And I just said, this is my baby, this is mine, I'll keep it. And he came and really convinced me. I don't know what power guys have of us. And convinced me. And this time the pregnancy was about 5 months. And that was one of I remember it for the fact that they injected something into my uterus. And I was left behind. And the baby, I could feel the baby fluttering in my stomach. You just, as if it was fighting, Yeah, I gave birth to that baby. And I remember the doctor came. Now, this was another doctor. Now we are now in the main hospital. And this is the time when this lady tells me, excuse me, ladies, you Kenyan girls, you should know that abortion is not a family planning method. You are destroying your wombs. I went back home, and I think that's the time when it's just me and this guy, it was over. He had a friend who used to be around him all the time, but I think this guy, maybe, I don't know what his intentions were. But he was there and he would see what was happening. They used to go out with this guy, so he knows what this guy used to do on the side and all that. And in this time, he came back And he felt very bad. He just told me, this guy has not done you right. He's not been doing you right. And that's how I started going out with this guy. We always call it rebound. You know, you always get the nearest person about. I was doing my master's now. This time is when I get pregnant. I tell him, he's a guy, he panicked actually. I think guys all panic. He panicked and he told me, if they discover this, my people back home, I'm on sponsorship from home, they'll stop my sponsorship. Please, we'll do this later. We'll go home, we'll finish, we'll get, we'll have all the babies we can have. Oh, he was good at whatever. I was convinced. So we went to hospital, the same doctor, the same hospital. When the doctor was told me, why do you want to, because he was there with me, why do you want to kill these babies? And I was asking, what babies are you talking about? He says, no, you have twins. And I sat down and I thought, okay, in my processing, I said, we've gone in, I don't know what was done inside there and what happened or what was ejected, fear actually. And I just said, letuendelee. So they decide to, I think, open up my cervix and give me some, induced me and let the babies come out. What I can know, and I've always said, I think that was the most horrendous time I've ever had in my life. It was worse than giving birth. It was horrendous, really, really horrendous. It took about about 2 days of labor. And when the babies were born, I could hear, okay, fine, there are babies, a boy and a girl, this and that, the placenta comes out, preserve the placenta, we are going to harvest. So then I could hear and I could see where they took them, because they were in a dish. So and everybody walks and leaves me there, alone. Yes, and all this. Now, hey, I didn't even have the energy to shut those voices. And it's horrendous in that, I don't know if the pain was more horrendous than the voices and the guilt and the guilt in me. And sitting there, I just got myself off the bed and I went into that room. And I looked and I found these two babies who are so cute. They look so much alike and they were hugging each other. And I could touch them and they were still warm. And I just looked, I cried and I told them, sorry. I'm so sorry, please forgive me. And I left. Went back to the bed. You're just covered with a sheet, halfway, a small sheet. But they came back and got me and put me in a room, a recovery room. And when I was there, something happened because I started freezing and shivering like anything. Really, really. And I know they came back and gave me some injections. And I stabilized. I was moved to a room and they put a drip there. And I was there for about 2-3 days. Something breaks in you, something disconnects somehow. It disconnects. And we were there and we went on with life, but it's those things you don't talk about. Guilt and shame are twins that are so horrible. It is not worth it because it takes away your self-esteem, your self-worth. It takes away who you are, your essence. You live like a shadow, you're like a walking dead. But the only person who can restore it is God. Jesus died to restore that back to us. At the end of that year, actually now when I finished my master's and I think I was waiting for this guy to finish. Then I discovered I'm pregnant again. But this time even him, there was a girl who had come from home and he cheated me, was his cousin. And I welcomed. I'm just a Martha, like you said, the mom that I am. We are homely girl. Martha is the name of a mother. And I welcomed at home, but kumbe this was somebody they were having something with. And I discovered it. But this time I'm discovering it, I'm also discovering I'm pregnant. So I said, okay, fine. I'm through with the men. Don't want them. I'll keep my baby regardless of what, and nobody's going to talk to me. And that's how I had my daughter. She's turning 29 in about a week's time. So this time my dad sent a ticket and I came back home. I come to Nairobi, get a job. Actually, I was working in a media house as an advertising executive. So I met this guy and we started going out together. And it didn't take, hey, I think I'm somebody you just have to spit near me and I'll get pregnant. And here I was pregnant again. I'm telling you, I didn't even go out with this guy. Do you know, we didn't even 2-3, I didn't even think it was even 2 months. I was pregnant again, pop. And now I had to tell him, and the guy says and sits down and says, now what do we do? What do you want us to do? What, you know, now it's back, it's always thrown back, what do you want? I mean, I wish he stood up and says, this is what you want to do. I think that's what all ladies want. Let the man take control of the thing. To guys out there, please, man up. Take responsibility of your seed. Let me tell you, from then on, I was never the same again. Right from the beginning, the first abortions, I remember I used to dream of I would be pregnant and I would be having my periods. I'm bleeding, sorry. Pregnant, it was something that used to happen so often. And then after that, and it used to have around the time I'm having my periods, about to have my periods. And then after that, I would calculate, oh, this baby would be how old? You know, when you're alone. I always say if pillows could talk, what people think, the tears and the things you say when you're alone. I would calculate, oh, this baby would be how, you'll celebrate their birthdays and all, you remember, you count, you know. You contemplate, you think of these things, what could have happened, what, you know, that kind of thing. You would hear babies cry. And sometimes I would think it was a dream and all, but it would even happen, that one of it's in your head. Mm-hmm. You dream about babies crying. It would be on your head. And I didn't know what all this was. When I crashed, actually, when I went for post-abortion counseling with an organization called Pearls and Treasures, they specialize in post-abortion syndrome, is when I realized what was going on in my mind. And that's what made me, when I get resolved to do something, I really didn't do it. But it was a very difficult 14 weeks program. And I waded through it. I was determined to go through it. I was restored because I was forgiven, I was set free, I was healed, and I've been restored.
And now you're saving lives.
And I'm telling you, I'm saving lives. And I feel like a 15-year-old right now, facing life again. With all that excitement of facing my life. This is now home. This is a Crisis Pregnancy Ministries. Like you see, we do life skills and daycare, but especially for girls who have been in teen pregnancy. We tell them that getting pregnant is the end of life, but we tell them they can live again. This is really where my heart is. Crisis Pregnancy is a ministry. CPM is Crisis Pregnancy Ministries, Kenya, and it's a ministry of Youth for Christ, Kenya.
Awesome.
Yes.
Are we allowed to go in?
Yeah, come in, you're welcome. This is where my heart is. Yeah. Wow. Sasa. This is one of the children. Yes. You're a good boy, Daddy. You're a good boy. Wacha niende nifungue, nirudi eh? Aye.
Is there anything like safe abortion?
What is safe? Abortion is murder. When is murder safe? Abortion is murder, you see. So I really believe every life deserves a chance. Even if they found out there's something wrong with this child, it is God's choice. If I was to talk to Martha at 17, hey, I'd tell her, sweetheart, don't even try. In fact, don't even look sideways at a man. Because I used to tell people, if a man just held me like this, kusha maneno, I am pregnant, you know. By the way, I'm practicing secondary virginity. Right now, I'm engaged to get married. I'm 55. He's older than me. I'm telling you, it's a difficult thing to do. It's not easy. At 55, chilling is not easy. So when I'm telling you to chill, I'm not telling you because it's easy. I know it is not easy. It is not easy, but it's possible. I've lost 7 babies to wrong choices. I say God loves me because there are many people who've tried this and have never survived. They've just tried one abortion and they're not around. That I survived all this and I'm here is amazing. Abortion is a no-no. I'm telling you, the world will pay for the babies that have died on the altar of choice and pleasure.